Today I'm going to be making tart pies, pecan tarts and cashew tarts. A few years ago I used to own a cafe. I'm from the Midwest originally, and at my cafe I would sell these little pies. And so I'm going back down memory lane. That was just, maybe it was about 10 years ago. So I'm going down memory lane and I'm going to make my pies today. So in this bowl, I have a cup of sugar, and then I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of melted butter. So in this bowl, I have 3 eggs, a cup of sugar. I'm going to add light corn syrup instead of dark corn syrup. Light corn syrup is better when you're pairing it with cashews. It has this light, sweet taste, and then you have the saltiness of the cashew. Now, when you make pecan pies, a lot of people do use the dark corn syrup. But me personally, like I do in my other videos, I prefer the light corn syrup because it's not as sweet. It's just an overwhelming sweetness to me. And that could be because of certain people and the way they make their pies. There are people who like their pies a little sweeter. I'm going to add a teaspoon of vanilla. And that is it. A quick pie. And the cashew pie is definitely a pie for cashew lovers. Oh, I forgot one more ingredient. No, I already put that in there. So there is 2 tablespoons of butter. I've already added that. I'm gonna mix this up. I've already made my pie crust. I made this earlier. If you want to see the recipe of my pie crust, I did it in my peach cobbler video. And small peach cobbler pies is another item that I had on my menu at my cafe. Another thing that I thought would be a nice idea, because I did weddings, I did miniature cheesecakes, and I would put them in cute gift boxes. And for this holiday, if you're having a Friendsgiving party, or you're having a small family gathering, you can give your family a nice little tiny dessert to go. And so I got these on Amazon. I thought it was so cute because I'm going to put the little tarts in that box. So I've mixed up our batter, or the pie filling. And as a cafe owner, I had to get food safety. I had to take food safety classes. That's why I always have gloves. I wear a lot of gloves. And when you're cooking for your family, you do still have to, follow the food safety. Or if you're cooking by yourself, it may be different. You can eat out of use your own spoon for tasting. But since the holidays are coming up, Christmas and Thanksgiving, it is good to look at the temperature of your food and not have your food sitting out all day. And a lot of times we don't think about that. We have our relatives over and you'll be grazing for hours and the food will be just sitting there for hours. And you have to put your food up. You have to cool it out the correct temperature. You can't just throw a pot of hot food in a pot and throw it in the refrigerator. You have to cool it down slowly and get it in your refrigerator so that you can have leftovers. That is so important. So I'm going to break this up. put a little flour on my rolling pan. And I'm just gonna roll this out. Like I said, I used to do weddings. I did miniature cheesecakes. We had over 40 different flavors of cheesecakes. And a lot of what I did with those cheesecakes is I would put them in gift boxes. It was a gift box set of 9, and we had over 40 different flavors of cheesecake. And so I got into doing weddings. People wanted me to make them a cheesecake wedding cake. Of course, I don't do this anymore. And so you just flatten it out. Sometimes it's hard for me being on YouTube and making up recipes, because a lot of things I just do from scratch, or I'll change up something and forget. I'm like, okay, this is YouTube. They want the recipe and instructions. So I'm slowly learning how it works. And after I've probably made about 1,000 videos, I would have learned something. So if you are a YouTuber and have advice, you can just put your advice in the comments, because I need it. So I'm going to and you will see chunks of butter in here. And that adds to the flakiness of the pie. And I used to have something to pat this down, but I don't know where that is right now. But what I'm going to do is put the crust in and pat it down around the sides to make sure it's gonna get in on the sides. And then I'm going to just smash the top of this. Top of the rim of the pie pan. So then I'm gonna go around here again, kind of pat this down a little bit. It's funny, I have all these reasons why I do certain things. It would be a long video. But after I've made like, I don't know how many of these pies, everything's about experience, even doing YouTube. It's, you have to learn and adjust. So that's one tart crust. And I'm not gonna videotape all of this because we'll be here all day. So I'm gonna put my crust in all of the pans. Oh, I forgot. You want to oil your pan so that it won't stick, but you really don't need that much because this is a non-stick pan. So I'm gonna just wipe my hand in here and then just go over in this one. This top, just a little spray. And you want this to slide out. I have all types of pans, and this is one of the easy pans to pop things out because you're gonna just push this out, and if it gets stuck a little bit, it's gonna come out. So the most important part, even though the edges, it can't stick, But there's just ways, after doing this so long, you can get it out. So we'll see how this is gonna work, especially this one that I did already with no spray. So this is the last crust that I'm gonna roll out. So the recipe that I use for my crust makes maybe 2 full 9-inch pies. And when I make these tarts, I'm looking at six pies right here, but I have dough left over. So you could probably make more. This is a 5-inch tart pan. And I have a 4-inch tart pan, but I'm not using it today. So if you wanted even a smaller dessert, you can use those. So I'm going, like I said, I'm making a pecan pie and I'm making a cashew pie. And let's get this out of the way. So here's my crust that I have left over. So I could probably make another one, but I only have 6 pans in that size. So I'm going to use it for something else. So here are all of my pie crust. And for my pecans, a lot of people like to take the pecans and put them in their pie whole or halves. I like to chop mine up because when you start biting into the pie, you're biting through a whole, or not a whole, but a half of a pecan, and it can get a little messy. Sometimes I buy the pecans already chopped, or I'll chop it up myself. So I'm just gonna do a little chop. And this is in the way. But the cashews, I do not chop those up. I just put them in. At least I have, are these whole? Well, if it's a half, I don't chop it up, but this, they look like halves. Well, I got halves and wholes, so I guess you make that decision. But I personally, for pecan pies, to chop them up just a little bit. So I'm going to put this in. And the great thing about cooking, especially when you're cooking for yourself, you can put as many pecans as you want. So I'm going to make 3 pecans pies or tarts, and then I'm going to make 3 cashew. And the pecans will rise to the top. So you put the nuts in first. And I don't like the actual dusty crumbs, so I'll leave that there. Whoops. I am always making a mess. Okay. That's enough. And so those are my, so I need to clean off this. I'm gonna add a little bit of ginger in here. I love ginger. I'm just gonna put a little bit. My son, he used to hate when I changed the recipe. My youngest son, he would say, "What is this?" I'm like, "I want to use a different kind of cheese this time," like on my macaroni and cheese. And he would get upset. But he would eat it. I'm like, sometimes you have to try something else, try something new. So I noticed that I bought whole cashews instead of halves. So I'm just gonna chop this up just a little bit. Once again. And honestly, if you're afraid of trying new things, do not put ginger or anything else. Start with the basics and then you can add things later. That's what I always do. But like I just did, I just sprinkled a little. I did not put a lot. I guess I'm gonna mess this up. There you go. So now I'm going to fill the remainder. And if you have a nut allergy, I don't know, I would just stay away from it. Because sometimes some people are allergic to just peanuts. And they can eat other nuts. But I'd rather be safe than sorry. But honestly, I don't know if this company accidentally put a peanut in there. You just don't know. But when you're at home, again, you have more control over your food and what, to eat, what you can eat. And so you can do this at home and make your own adjustments. So I have this little ladle that I'm going to use, and I got a feeling I'm going to have some of this left over. So you could just make sure that it doesn't overflow, and it looks like it's overflowing right there. And that's what will have this pie sticking to the pan. But still, it'll pop out. Just requires a little patience. So I started off in finance and accounting. I did that most of my career, and I still do contract work. And then when my grandmother passed away, we ended up making sweet potato pies, because she used to make sweet potato pies for everyone. And my sisters and I decided, oh, let's start a business and make sweet potato pie. And that's how we started doing desserts. Okay, this one right here, this is gonna be a mess. So you really have to watch. It's hard for me to do these videos where I'm talking and trying to cook at the same time. We'll see how that looks. And when you have a mess like this is what you call the test pie. You can eat it. Let's put this in the oven. I think they're done. The light flavor of the corn syrup does not conflict with the cashews. If you love cashews, this is a delicious pie. And I can taste a hint of the ginger, just a hint. It was just enough. And you have to make homemade crust. Thank you for watching. Don't forget, like, comment, and subscribe.